Welcome back to another achievement hunt. Today, I'm going to be earning all achievements in Cult of the Lamb, becoming the fluffiest cult leader this world has ever seen. Cult of the Lamb has 48 achievements, split between its base game and 2 content DLCs. No time like the present. Let's get started. We play as an adorable lamb whose story begins at an unlikely place. Dying. We have been sacrificially slaughtered under the orders of the 4 bishops of the Old Faith. These squirrely folks right here. At our moment of death, we get summoned to this light mode region by a creature called the One Who Waits, and are given life again. In order to repay this debt that we did not co-sign on, we are required to enter a life of servitude and work to build a cult of loyal followers in the One Who Waits name. Simultaneously, we must eliminate the rival cults and their cult leaders. Doing this will free our benefactor from the literal chains which bind him. It's an offer we can't refuse. Genuinely. We can't refuse it. But on the bright side, my first achievement unlocks Deal with the Devil. Gameplay is divided into 2 distinct categories. A roguelite dungeon crawler called Crusades, and a base builder where you manage your cult and provide for their needs. It's my responsibility as their great fleece line leader to keep them fed, healthy, and faithful, by any means necessary. I immediately start my quest for cult dominance and meet my single-eyed mentor, Ratau. He teaches me the ins and outs of cult leadership and provides me with my first slate, Follower. I meant follower. This unlocks the achievement, First Follower. His name is Bitrijul. Each follower comes with unalterable, innate traits. I said aloud to myself, "Why is this deer polyamorous?" Questions for later. Because right now, with the assistance of my little polyamorous deer and the power of prayer, we open the door to my first combat region, Darkwood. The bishop for Darkwood is this bush named Leshy. Early on in my first crusade, I am introduced to the tarot card system, which works as power-ups on each run, but are lost once the run ends. I also find a scroll of paper on the ground which contains a follower form. Another collectible, of which there are, let me check my notes, 67. Holy cow, Batman. The combat is simple and intuitive, but fast-paced. Attack, dodge, try not to die. I reached the first mini-boss, Amducius. Anyway. Once I win, he transforms into another little slave for my labor farm, and I unlock yet another achievement, Death to Non-Believers. Upon returning to the cult, Ratau teaches me the ins and outs of the faith system, collecting divine inspiration to unlock buildings for my cult, how to set rules, and how to the good word, to collect faith, which upgrades my weapons and abilities while on crusades. After performing my first sermon, I unlock Preacher of Truth. In my next crusade, I beat the second mini-boss. I feel like if I keep mispronouncing these, I'm gonna accidentally summon a demon or something. He gets recruited for later use. The one who waits pulls me through space and time to literally just pat me on the butt saying I'm doing a good job, and I scurry on home to my new recruits. Ratau gives me his last piece of wisdom, how to earn my followers' loyalty through friendship bracelets and doing a little jig, and how to perform rituals. After dancing around a bonfire, clothed, for now, more on that later, I unlock Crosser of Thresholds. Ratau hits me with the old "I'ma head out" and gives me an open invitation to his place for a game of dice. I notoriously fuck with games inside of games. Not to brag, but I hit professional rank in the Gwent standalone several times. Huh? All this to say, I immediately ran my little butt to the lonely shack for a roaring round of Knuckle Bones. In Knuckle Bones, each player has a 3x3 board setup and take turns rolling one 6-sided die and placing it in a column on their board. If multiple dice of the same score are stacked in a single column, you get a multiplicative effect. However, if your opponent puts that same number in their side of that column, your dice get removed entirely. The game ends when one player has their board completely full. At that point, whoever has the highest score wins. After Ratau gets absolutely demolished in Knuckle Bones, I unlock Game of Chance. I had a good time, so thankfully that's not the last achievement for Knuckle Bones. I will be meeting many more NPCs to play against as the game progresses. On my fourth run in Darkwood, I encounter Leshy himself. With his followers' sacrifice, he transforms into his eldritch being, a giant bushworm, and the fight is on. He seemingly attacks without focus, almost like he can't see me, which is so flavorful. He is, after all, the bishop who personifies See No Evil. Leshy is shortly dispatched, and I unlock the achievement See No Evil, and I pull from his corpse his still beating heart, carrying it home to celebrate with my flock. Unfortunately, Leshy did hit me during the fight, blind or not, meaning that I'll need to go fight him again at a later point, since there are achievements for beating each of the bishops without taking damage. In the overworld, I unlocked a new region to explore, Pilgrim's Passage. This area is home to some leaderless cultists who are just chilling in the dark. They can't seem to figure out how to light the lighthouse, and once I do that for them, they're so grateful that they swear their fealty to me, and I unlock Bringer of Light. Besides the cultists, this area is also occupied by this NPC who is definitely not a fish man, but is rather a fisherman. Thank you very much. He tasks me with fishing and catching 4 specific types of sea creatures. For each of these requested creatures, he gives me in return what I like to call a fleece piece. When I collect 4 fleece pieces, I can unlock a fleece, a new outfit for my lamb that will give different powers. With my first completed fleece piece, I unlocked the fleece I would use for my entire first playthrough, the Golden Fleece, which then unlocks the achievement Transform. With the power of friendship, I unlock the next region, Anura, home to She Who Speaks No Evil, Hecate. The One Who Waits gives me the ability to cull my flock using the sacrifice ritual, which summons an interdimensional eldritch being and just pulls a follower in with it. I'm sure they're doing fine wherever they are. For the first time doing this, I unlocked Sacrificial Beast and the first Death. Also, when I do this, I can't help but notice that I receive an item back called follower meat. And this cat is a little freaky, giving me a quest to cook for him a meal of follower meat. Like, I know they're different creatures, but surely this is cannibalism. And indeed, once I do that, I unlock the achievement Cannibal. And the cat immediately falls ill, nya. Who is surprised, nya. He probably had that coming, nya. Traveling throughout Anura, I meet some new friends. First off, these little mushroom boys. And they say, "I'm a little mushroom boy." No, what they actually say is that their leader, Sozo, is acting very strangely, and they invite me to stop by their place, unlocking a new overworld region to explore. Sozo is really obsessed with these mushrooms that grow throughout Anura. Clearly they have some sort of psychedelic properties. He's not right, but I give him mushrooms, he gives me a fleece piece. So who's complaining? Also in Anura, I meet this kinky owl. S and M S and her name be Kemek. Kemek teaches me about yet another combat system and collectible, relics. How many collectibles can fit in here? Relics are artifacts that have various special abilities. Sometimes they are single use, sometimes they're multiple use. If they're multiple use, they are on a timer cooldown. I reach my final détente with Hecate, and she, unsurprisingly, transforms into a big-ass frog. And did I say final détente? Must have been a slip of the tongue, because she hit me with her tongue. I'm gonna have to come back later for the no damage fight. It's time to move on to the third region, Anchordeep. I make my way under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. I meet the bishop of the area, Calamar. He can't hear shit. He represents hear no evil. I unlock the ability to marry my followers whether they want to or not, like a true cult leader. I married this bush creature and spent my honeymoon fishing, unlocking Teach a Lamb to Fish for catching one of every fish in the game. Also at this time, I unlocked the confessional, so I can take confession once a day. This is an absolute lifesaver. I love this little booth. Oh, and this dude is all pissy because I made him do confession. Let's cut to our reporter in the field to see how many fucks I give. None. I could care less. For taking my first confession, I unlock Keeper of Secrets. I, at this time, reach max level on my tabernacle, or whatever this is. On my next run in Anchordeep, I meet this jaunty gentleman named Plimbo, who wins the award for my favorite dialogue sound.
Bowdy booty.
Bowdy booty. He invites me to visit him in his overworld region, Smuggler's Sanctuary. Turns out Plimbo is another Fleece Piece NPC, but what he wants are called Eyes of Witnesses. Apparently, the areas where the bishops used to occupy are being taken over by monsters called Witnesses, and they're interrupting Plimbo's trade routes. He wants me to kill them and bring him back their eyeballs, so I set off to collect them. Since I'm backtracking now anyway, I take the opportunity to attempt the no-hit battles with Hecate and Leshy. I try to stay behind to avoid her tongue attack, and once I'm just mindful of Leshy's random attack patterns, it's no problem. I unlock Sate and Order. Back in Anchordeep, it's time to fry off some calamari, and I felt prepared for whatever he could throw at me. until he started throwing things at me.
Holy, look at all this damage!
He actually martyred me. Thankfully, the game isn't over when you die. You can only lose if you have no followers. So, I took my death with a grain of salt. No big deal. Somehow, I beat him while not getting touched. This unlocks both Hear No Evil and Cure. I love efficiency. After my next sermon, I got a terrifying introduction to the sin system. I can now cleanse my followers of sin, perform sin rituals, and have my followers take part in actions that increase their sin. These include drinking alcohol, dancing at a drum circle, changing into their birthday suit, and dancing around a bonfire. Once their sin bar is completely full, I can cleanse them and collect one sin. I use this sin to level up my temple, craft things, and have my followers mate to propagate the flock. All this to say that I need sin, and I need a lot of it. This turns the page on what must be a heck of a good time for my cult. On cooldown from here on out, I got these dudes drinking, breeding, and dancing. Mazel tov. While they're living it up, I proceed to my final crusade region, Silk Cradle. This is the home of Shimura. We stan a non-binary arachnid overlord. Shimura is the embodiment of Think No Evil, which I wasn't aware existed, and I'm not convinced that it does. Along the way, I start collecting these spindles of silk. And this is for a reason. I come across a silkworm named Berith, who calls me a basic bitch in 16 languages. Berith is in charge of yet another collectible called outfits. Outfits are clothes that I can craft for my followers. Majority of these will be purchased from Berith, and you can only buy one at a time. So I'm keeping gold bars on me, and each time I run across them, we're gonna have a transaction. Once I buy all of those and collect the other miscellaneous outfits, I unlock Setter of Trends. Later in Silk Cradle, I come across a signpost inviting me to a place called Midas's Cave. This is the last overworld region, so I unlock Leader of the Crusade for having access to all overworld locations. Midas is totally out of my tax bracket. The currency in this location is gold bars instead of gold coins. So I get my little laborers working around the clock, consecrating gold bars for future use. Midas is also willing to trade me fleece pieces for followers on a 1-to-1 basis. Since I still need to have 20 followers to unlock the final area, I'm going to wait to sell out my followers until later. I then met this Picasso-looking NPC named who I had an opportunity to rename and didn't take, and deeply regret while recording this voiceover. They don't say much right now, but will be central after our first playthrough is finished. Don't worry about them too much right now. It's time for my favorite part. Knuckle Bones! In Silk Cradle, I met the final NPC who was willing to voluntarily play Knuckle Bones with me, so it's time to head to the shack and roll a hot streak. I won against all the homies and unlocked Master of Chance. And it's time for the final showdown against Shimura. Mono e mono, lamb e spider. Everything goes totally fine, just how I drew it up. Which is to say, I got martyred again. On the second try, it goes just how it did with Calamari, and I get the kill and the no-hit both, unlocking Think No Evil and Peace. The giant door in the middle of the hub, which presumably leads to the one who waits, gets unlocked, but I'm a few followers short of the count I need. I spent a lot of time with my cult during this grind up to 20 followers, so get ready for some sin. Also around this time, I unlocked all curses and all weapons through sermons. I start with getting followers the long way around and making some babies. I thought this worm looked pretty submissive and breedable.
What?
And lo and behold, I got an egg. I am not sure about the logistics of a worm producing an egg, but I figure we're past asking questions. After nurturing and caring for my pilfered egg every day, I became a father. After having so many followers come and go, they had kind of blended together in my mind. But this is my little worm baby. I raised him with my own 2 hands. I give him all of the best gifts and my constant attention. I'm attached to him. Keep this in mind for later. But I have 20 followers, enough to go see Papa. Oh, and let's count the achievements for thresholds of followers here because, teehee, I forgot to keep track of them. So silly. I entered the light mode region, and there are a smorgasbord of weapons and curses on offer. Hey, that's kind of weird. Papa says that it's time to self-martyr so that he can take back his power and my cute little crown. Just like that, after all we've been through together? What, so I did all this work, gathered and nourished my flock only for him to take over? Okay, yes, that is what we agreed on, but now I don't wanna. I'm asserting my legal right to do whatever I want. So I tell him no. He first sicks his guard kittens on me, ball, and aim. Their fights are pretty cool, but I'm the better vessel. And I was quickly victorious. Thank God I don't have to do no damage on the one who waits fight. You're welcome. Get it? Thank God? I'm the little god? That's to say, the one who waits is a little bit of a challenging fight. He threw his best at me, but I managed to be better, and that's the end of him. Which is what I would say if that was the end of him.
I'm in danger!
What I ought to have considered is that all of the bishops have had an eldritch form. This fight is Cult of the Lamb meets Bullet Hell. He throws his eyeballs at me, ew, and they throw out fireballs almost without pause. Once the eyeballs get taken out, the fight is over, and he transforms into a cute, grumpy little follower. I recruit him into my cult because I'm petty, and I marry him because I'm the pettiest. With that, the base game's content has been completed. Surely I'm getting close to the end, right?
Right? Wrong!
I still have 2 DLCs to finish, one of which is a New Game Plus, and 17 achievements to collect. I get reintroduced to... And they say that I've been a little too ham-fisted in killing off the bishops, having left them in a perpetual, painful state of limbo. I guess I need to help them, and my floating friend tells me that I can free them by returning to their locations and fighting them again, freeing them from their binds, and indoctrinating them into my cult. You mean New Game Plus? This is New Game Plus. Okay, let's get into it. With that, credits roll on New Game Plus, and I now have all 5 bishops in my cult, unlocking Leader of Leaders, which means it's time for a bunch of cleanup. My floating friend unlocks for me an area called Purgatory. Once per in-game day, I can enter Purgatory and fight in a gauntlet, running through all 4 regions in a row. Interestingly, these challenges are separated via fleece type. Each time I do a run with a particular fleece, I unlock a more difficult gauntlet to attempt with that same fleece. Personally, I found this game mode not very interesting, but once I complete all gauntlets with one fleece, I unlocked Slayer of Souls. During a crusade, Midas mugged me, which, what the hell? He has literal Scrooge McDuck piles of gold. Why would he need mine? I caught up with him in Cradle and he's all, oh ho ho ho, bygones be bygones or whatever, so I started blasting. I unlocked Shakedown for getting my gold back from him. Start gathering items called God Tears, and my buddy says that they'll take them and in exchange will give me a gotcha pull. What I'm mainly looking to get from this are fleece pieces, follower forms, tarot cards, a relic, plus 2 specific follower necklaces called the Light and the Dark necklace. Very creative naming, you guys. Their description says that they have no known effect, but that knowledge is oft gained through sacrifice. I love sacrifice, especially when it's someone else's. More on that later. For now, the gacha machine gives me the last tarot card that I was looking for, and I unlock full deck. I got a notification that there was a fight happening in my flock. One of the consequences of keeping my flock liquored up is that they tend to be obnoxious like drunk people do, saying nonsense, throwing up everywhere, and fighting. All I had ever had happen from this was some bumps and bruises, so I ignored it. But this time, my worm baby was murdered. Oh, you are so lucky my ritual sacrifice was on cooldown, Seahorse Man. I laid my worm baby to rest in proper fashion and found the strength to move on by making more babies. Once I hatch 5 eggs, I unlock Propagate the Flock. The fact that by the time the babies become adults, they're already very high leveled helps me out a ton in collecting disciples. Disciples are level 10 followers, which is pretty high, and I need 12 disciples to unlock the achievement Apostles. That's a lot of grinding. Once that whole grind is complete, I unlock Apostles. And as a consequence, all these high-level followers help me collect my final doctrine, unlocking Gospel. We're really knocking them out of the park here. And hey, followers come, followers go. I start sacrificing followers on cooldown, rest in peace, and finally hit 10 total sacrifices, unlocking Wear of Souls. I thought I needed to have exactly 666 gold for a particular achievement, and that's probably not the case, so I spent unnecessary time doing math, but either way, unlocked Hoarder of Wealth. While exploring the overworld at night, I met my final fleece piece NPC, the Fox. The wiki has his occupation listed as predatory murderer, which I find infinitely amusing. In return for his fleece pieces, he requires sacrifice. He starts out just wanting a fish, but it progresses rapidly until his final request is Ratau. And I mean, I think he would understand. Probably. I really need that fleece piece. After I pull my Judas on Ratau, the cleanup on collecting fleeces is pretty easy. Play some gacha, turn in some eyeballs, save up some sin for the cowboy outfit, and yeehaw! I unlock Transmute. Along my path, I met this Tin Man wannabe named Ratu. Not Ratau, Ratu. And he seems pretty cool, if not a little bit of a sad boy. I like his song, but on my way out, he says something to me. Oh, this is awkward. Don't worry about him if you don't hear from him. He's probably just busy. you know. I stopped by to collect my tithes from Sozo, only to find him pretty f***ing dead. The game prompted me to take the mushroom from his head, and I thought, why not? So I took his cute little hat with me. While trying to collect bugs, I accidentally planted his little hat and had no clue where it went. I was very confused. So imagine my surprise when one day, a little baby Sozo sprouted from my planter. Look how surprised I am. He asks immediately for mushrooms, and I said, well, no, dude, you can't handle your mushrooms. He took it very well and normal. Baby Sozo later prompts me to go save his mushroom friend from Anura, playing on my weakness of gathering followers ad nauseum. I do go and rescue the little mushroom boy, only for Sozo to eat him alive. What the hell? And he's all, hee, can I get another mushroom friend? To which the answer is, of course, no! He's proven to be untrustworthy with their care. He handles the rejection very well and dissents against my teachings. This is handled easily by putting him in the pillory and explaining to him why he's wrong. That actually works a lot of the time. I would recommend trying it with your partner. After re-educating him, he transforms into a mushroomless follower named Dr. Sezonius. Apparently, everything he's done this entire time has been under the mind control powers of the mushrooms. But he's free now, and I unlock Regenerate. With the Telescope tarot card, which reveals the map, I noticed this hidden room that I couldn't seem to reach. I noticed there was some sort of statue in the dark, but I couldn't figure out how to open the hidden door because my brain is very small. Turns out that there is a twin statue inside the room that once hit activates the hidden door. Inside is this spooky sentient statue which requires a sacrifice of one of my hearts and in exchange gives me a lore piece. I can collect 10 lore pieces this way, and there are 5 other lore pieces that are collected in miscellaneous ways. Once I collect the final piece, I unlock Holder of History, and I also receive the last follower form I need, and unlock Full Flock. Back to the light and dark necklaces that I received from I make the difficult sacrifice of someone else's life and sacrifice followers while they're wearing the light and dark necklaces. They transform into Aim and Ball, the one who waits guard cats, and everyone is confused about it, even them. This seems a little underwhelming at first, until this merchant, Fornius, mentions that she had given her kits to a god as a sacrifice. And Shimura mentions that they were the one to give Aim and Ball to the one who waits so that he wouldn't be alone, which is kind of sweet. I summon the kits through the demonic circle to take them on a crusade with me and give them back to their mama, who is naturally overjoyed and gives me a couple of relics, and I unlock True Love Found. Leshy, Heket, Kalamar, and Shimura all have requests for me to collect their missing body parts, and take them on a tour of their home, aka summon them through the demonic circle and do a run in their respective region. Their body parts all work as their relics, and doing the farewell tour with them gives me their relic in a cleansed form. After I finish all of that for each of them, the one who waits asks me to take a walk with him, and he gives me his relic. This is the last relic that I needed, unlocking Relics of the Old Faith. The last thing I need to do for the godhood achievement is to farm enough sin and gold bars to be able to fully upgrade my temple. Takes me a while of grinding because holy shit, which one of you god damn. Anyway, I have them drinking and dancing and consecrating gold bars 24/7. Once I have enough to fully upgrade my temple, I unlock Aesthetics of the Lamb, which then gives me godhood for collecting every other achievement. And that's that. Another 100% done and dusted. Time on this one came out to just about 30 hours, start to finish. All in all, the game is great. And I think whether you're playing casually or achievement hunting, you're gonna have a good time with this one. But that's it for me. You guys know the drill. Until next time, be nice to each other, drink your water, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.